What's up, awesome YouTubers? Ryan1988 or Justin back here to do a video for you all, and I hope you're all doing well out there. Like I mentioned in my last video, which was my top 10 horror movie Blu-rays you should own this October, I'm going to recommend my favorite horror movies on 4K that I recommend you buy. And say if you don't have them on 4K, the Blu-rays, or some of these have Blu-rays and 4Ks in the set. And so the Blu-rays, I believe for most part, have the same, or they have new transfers. So say if you're wanting to get a 4K player, but you don't have it yet, you could still pick up these releases because the Blu-rays look and sound amazing as well. And originally I was going to do 10, but I decided why not just talk about a good, stack of horror movie 4Ks to own and watch this October. Obviously, the movies are the most important thing, but the 4Ks are awesome too, and I think these movies really stand out on the 4K format. Let me know if there's any 4Ks in your collection that you recommend. There's obviously some other amazing ones that I love, that I have, but these are the ones that I think really stand out the most, and so let's get started. The first one, and all these are, I believe, all of them are pretty much available. This set right here, this certain edition is not available anymore, but you could find the, 3-disc 4K set for, I think, under $50 on eBay, maybe even Amazon, but that is the Dawn of the Dead Second Sight 4K release. Possibly my favorite release of 2020. I think it was 2020 when this came out. And yeah, I just absolutely love it. This is the limited set, so this is out of print. If you can find it for a great price, go for it. But if you can't find this set for a great price, the standard 4K set is out there as well from Second Sight. Love the transfers. I've seen all three transfers from all three cuts of Dawn of the Dead, and I think they all look great in their own ways. Every one of them really stands out, and they all don't look the same, and I really like that about it. The Dario Argento zombie cut looks different from the theatrical cut and the extended cut, and both of them looks, different, slightly different. So I really love this set, and if you're a fan of Dawn of the Dead, I definitely recommend go out there and pick up, again, the, standard 4K set. Again, this is out of print. This is the limited set that came with the soundtrack and books and everything, but you could still get the standard Second Sight release, the 4K edition, and I recommend it. I think it looks and sounds amazing. The best the movie has ever looked. This is another box set, and on eBay right now, it's $58 and some change. And this is worth owning in your collection if you don't have them yet. And that is the Hellraiser 4-film Arrow Edition set. I had the, limited edition set, with the slip cover and everything. And I liked it, but it was such a pain to try to get out, and whenever I wanted to watch the movies, like taking the slipcover off and on, was kind of ruining the box set. So I got rid of that, and I wound up picking up the second release of the Hellraiser movies on 4K. And again, this is from Arrow. You have the first 4 movies on 4K. I also love this, separate releases. I think they're really cool. And it is worth owning. It's, again, $58 right now. $58 and some change right now on Amazon. And that, for me, is a great price, and I recommend picking it up. I know they're re-releasing the limited set for the US, but I personally love this one a little bit better. I know that one looks amazing. The packaging is amazing. But if I want to watch the movies, I just want to easily get them out. And, it's really cool to have them have their own separate releases. So you have Hellraiser, Hellbound, Hellraiser 2, Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, and Hellraiser 4, or Hellraiser Bloodline. And these are the best, or four of the best of the franchise. And I love the reboot as well. But yeah, I'm happy to have this. They all look and sound amazing, and they are worth owning in your collection. The next one is from Synapse. Synapse knows how to do an amazing job with their Blu-ray and 4K releases. I love the Blu-ray release of this. I have the steelbook of the steelbook release of this in Blu-ray format. But when I heard that they were releasing this movie on 4K, I had to grab it because it is one of my favorite horror movies and my favorite Dario Argento movie, and that is Suspiria. I mean, the picture quality and sound quality looks amazing on the standard Blu-ray release that they have. And, I was getting this at first because I just love the movie so much, and I was like, I want to have this on the 4K format. But it really surprised me at how awesome the movie looked. I think this release is a step up from their Blu-ray release, and that looks and sounds amazing. The colors, the music, the set pieces, they all just really stand out. Again, the music and the soundtrack, as far as sound goes, is awesome. I have to turn my TV down sometimes when the music plays. That's how good the sound is. And the picture quality looks and sounds amazing. Like, this is one of my reference quality 4K movies that I own. And, I've watched this with a couple friends of mine, and they've been impressed with it, and I love it. I think it's stunning, and Synapse did such a wonderful job with this release that I recommend picking it up. If you are getting into 4K and you love that movie, it's worth owning. I think it's still in print. I think this one goes for maybe a little over $30 if you go on Amazon. Have a Scream Factory release, and I'm going to have some other Scream Factory releases on this set, or on this list. The first one, though, is Night of the Comet. This one surprised me. I wanted to buy this just because I am a big fan of the movie, and I love, again, the picture and sound quality on that Blu-ray. But I think the Blu-ray came out 10 years ago, and I thought, well, this could be a step up. I like the releases that, if the Blu-rays from Scream Factory came out 10 years ago or a little over 10 years ago, those for me are the ones that are going to, in my opinion, really have the better picture quality. Not taking away from some other releases that I'm going to talk about, because the Blu-rays, some of the movies that are on 4K on this list came out on Blu-ray not too long ago, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. But Night of the Comet was different. The Blu-ray came out, over 10 years ago, or almost 10 years ago, and they just knocked it out of the park with this release. It looks and sounds awesome, and it's one of my favorite 80s movies, 80s horror movies, 80s sci-fi movies. It has such a mixed fun blend of horror and sci-fi and comedy, and it just works really well, and I definitely recommend this one. So diving into more Scream Factory, and I talked about, when I was mentioning Night of the Comet, that I think the movies that would stand out the most on 4K would be the releases that they did, 10, 12 years ago, pretty much from the very, very beginning of their company. This one stands out and looks better than the previous release, and that previous Blu-ray release of this movie is awesome too. So either way, you're getting, an awesome Blu-ray release and an awesome 4K release. Again, I'm a fan of this movie. I love this movie so much. So My Bloody Valentine on 4K. I think back to 09. I think it was 09 or 08. I think 09, early 09, when Lionsgate released the uncut DVD release of this movie. And that was pretty mind-blowing at the time, because it was the first time we were seeing the movie uncut. Prior to that release, we only had theatrical releases of the movie. The early DVD releases were all the, theatrical cut down versions of My Bloody Valentine. And when you go and you watch the uncut, or not the uncut, but the theatrical cut of this movie, it's hard to watch just because they cut out so much of the deaths. And then they did that '09 DVD release when the remake was coming out, and that was great to have at the time. Then you had the Lionsgate Blu-ray, which looked and sounded good. It was a slight step up from the DVD. And then Scream Factory released the first Blu-ray, which I have the poster up there. And then they released the 4K. And I have this on 4K, and then I have the Blu-ray Steelbook. Again, big fan of the movie. The 4K looks and sounds great. I would say it's a slight step up from the Blu-ray, because either way, you are getting both an awesome Blu-ray and an awesome 4K. I think the colors pop in this. I also think that a lot of the daytime shots when, you're in the town and you're seeing them walk around look and sound awesome. They really stand out. And so this is definitely, of the last 2 or 3 years that this has been out, one of Scream Factory's best. And I love this, and I would say this is like a top 10 4K Scream Factory releases that I would recommend. So My Bloody Valentine, absolutely love it. The next one is from Vinegar Syndrome, and I love this company as well. This is awesome just to have on 4K. And again, like My Bloody Valentine, this one was a little bit more hard to come by back in the day. You had an Anchor Bay DVD that went out of print pretty fast. Then you had, I'm trying to think who released the second DVD release. I'm drawing a blank on who released that. That went out of print after a while. And then we had, Vinegar Syndrome release the Blu-ray, which again looks and sounds great. But I think this is a step up from that, and that is Madman on 4K. And this also has the Blu-ray. So, if again you're wanting to, eventually get a 4K player and say Madman is one of your favorites, you can still get it, and it comes with the Blu-ray. And they both look and sound great. 4K is a slight upgrade for me. Picture sound quality, I just think it looks awesome. You could definitely tell there are moments in this that just, sound and look slightly better than the Blu-ray. And again, the Blu-ray came out, I would say, over 10 years ago. And it's still a great Blu-ray. It's still one that I love. And it's one of the best slasher movies on Blu-ray. But as far as, 4K goes, this is definitely one of Vinegar Syndrome's best. And it's amazing that we have these little gems now on 4K where, again, the DVDs were always long out of print and you couldn't get your hands on them. And then we finally got it on Blu-ray and then 4K. So pretty awesome that we have this. The next one, this is great for the Halloween season, and that is Night of the Demons. Came out last year on 4K. And again, the Blu-ray and even the Blu-ray Steelbook transfer, they both look and sound great. But the Night of the Demons on 4K looks and sounds even better. This is one that I would say is a reference, quality 4K disc. And, again, Halloween season is upon us. It's coming up. And, if you're wanting to buy this and watch it by yourself or watch it with a group of friends, maybe you're having a Halloween party like in this movie. Like they're having a Halloween party in this movie. This would be awesome to watch. It's super fun. It's a fun movie. It's terrifying. It's, pure 80s, and I love it so much. And this is definitely one to own on 4K. And again, you do get a new remastered Blu-ray release of it. So really awesome there. One of my favorites from the 80s. The second site release of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that and the Dark Sky release looks and sounds great too. But this is my favorite of the two. Beautiful. You know, you still get that nice grain that you love about the film, but you also get it cleaned up. And so it's a perfect balance there. And I really love it. I think this is one that a lot of people own if you are a 4K fan. But yeah, just awesome. And again, one of my favorite movies on 4K. You know, that's just fantastic. These two I'm going to kind of show back to back, and I have some other movies like that. Um, Both look and sound wonderful. Grindhouse releasing. They haven't released anything recently, but you know, back in the early 2000s, they were just knocking it out of the park with these 4K releases. And I think the Blu-rays look and sound great. The original Blu-rays look and sound great. I think the 4Ks are definitely a step up. And those Blu-rays came out 10 or 12 years ago. So these are great to upgrade on. And again, you get the Blu-rays in them. So if you don't have them on Blu-ray, you have them here on Blu-ray as well. And you also have them on 4K. That's Maniac Cop 2 and Maniac Cop 3, Badge of Silence. I love this trilogy of films. A very underrated trilogy of movies. I don't hear enough horror movie fans talking about these movies. And I remember late 2000s on YouTube, and the DVDs were hard to come by. And Maniac Cop 2, when I first started YouTube, wasn't even on DVD. We got it, you know, a couple years after I started YouTube, and it was an okay DVD. You know, I was happy to have it. But, you know, when we got the original Blu-ray from Synapse, that was a step up. Same with Maniac Cop 3. And, you know, the DVDs for a long time were out of print. Then Synapse released them, and they have never looked better. I love the Blu-ray releases. I love the 4Ks even more. And I'm happy to have them both. So I recommend them both. I, again, love this trilogy. And I hope one day we get the first movie on 4K. So, absolutely love the trilogy. Another two movies in a franchise, and I really could not, you know, leave one of these out without, you know, or I really couldn't mention one of these movies without mentioning the other movie and their 4K transfers, and that is Scream and Scream 2. Now, this is a Blu-ray case, but I've made it pretty much my own deluxe edition with the 4K, the Blu-ray, and the two documentaries that came out in the early 2010s Blu-ray box set. So, Scream, I just rewatched it on 4K. I've seen this probably 4 times on 4K. It is the best, hands down, the movie has ever looked. And color timing is the best it's ever looked since the VHS days. I love the color. Very natural lighting and color in this. I also think the sound is wonderful, and they did such an amazing job with Scream. And then with Scream 2, I think the same way. I think it looks and sounds awesome. It's the best the movie's looked. And again, I would say, you know, the best since the VHS transfer, because that was like that original color timing or picture quality that we had. And these are worth owning in your collection. Again, you know, I made this a Blu-ray combo, so you're only getting the 4K with this release. But this comes with a Blu-ray and 4K. But Scream's really well known, so, you know, maybe you already have them on Blu-ray, and you're just wondering, are the 4Ks worth upgrading? And I would say these are definitely worth, you know, upgrading in your collection. A video wouldn't be the same without some John Carpenter for me, and recommending some of his movies on 4K. Scream Factory overall, they've been killing it with the John Carpenter titles on 4K. I've been really impressed with the 4K transfers. And one of them I'm going to talk about is just a universal release, but the movie looks and sounds amazing. And again, the best the movie's ever looked. And it was supervised, I believe, by Dean Cundey. I could be wrong. But the first one I'll talk about out of John Carpenter's movies that I'm going to recommend is The Thing. This is the only Scream Factory release the only non-Scream Factory release from John Carpenter's titles that I'm going to talk about. Universal did such an awesome job with the picture and sound quality. I loved the Scream Factory Blu-ray. I still love it. But this corrected some color timings. It corrected the picture quality. Again, it has that grain that we love, but it also just looks and sounds the best the movie has ever looked. And I am so impressed with this. I love that. And then the 3 Scream Factory releases I want to talk about. We have Prince of Darkness, The Fog, and They Live. I want a steelbook of this release because I have, that I know of, all of Carpenter's movies on 4K steelbooks that have been released so far. Anyway, Prince of Darkness, this was the second or first 4K release from Scream Factory when they were, upgrading their catalog titles. And it was a really special time because, we didn't have all these 4Ks from them. So this is one of those first, if you want to call it nostalgic things. Not really nostalgic, but, one of the first 4K memories from Scream Factory. And it looks and sounds great. Like, I'm very impressed with this, and this was definitely a hands up. This was hands up, definitely an upgrade. Hands down, definitely an upgrade from the previous Scream Factory Blu-ray. They Live. Again, I owned the original 4K release that Scream Factory did. This was, again, with Prince of Darkness, some of their first, if not their first, 4K releases from their previous catalog titles. And They Live smashed it out of the park with this They Live 4K release. And rather you get the standard 4K or you get this steelbook, they both have the same picture quality, and it is worth owning in your collection. If you're a fan of this movie, which I'm now a big fan of this movie, I recommend it. I love that quality. And then The Fog was another one. I think the Fog Blu-ray from 2012 looks and sounds great, but this was a step up, and I really loved the 4K release. The soundtrack, the haunting soundtrack in that movie just sounds so good on 4K, and the picture quality is awesome. Another Scream Factory title, and probably one of their more underrated Scream Factory 4Ks. I don't hear enough people even talk about this movie too much. This movie is worth talking about, and I know there are people that love it, but it's not every day that I hear people talk about the Funhouse, and this was hands down. Hands down, this is a top 3, top 5, awesome 4K from Scream Factory. Definitely one of the best, and I was highly impressed with this 4K release. The lights at the carnival, Funhouse Carnival, look great. The sounds great. It's cleaned up, and yet it still has that grain that you love. I recommend this one so much, and again, it's not getting enough talk, and it's been out a couple years now, and it is worth owning in your collection. This is one of the, out of all these titles that I'm talking about, this is like top 5 in this video to go out and buy and watch it. Like, this is perfect for the fall, October, viewing experience. So if you're going to pick up any of these, this is one of them that I highly recommend. So The Funhouse, Paramount title. This has the fall atmosphere that we love. If you're a fall fan, if you're a fan of the Halloween month, it just has that cold, crisp feeling to it. And I'm talking about Sleepy Hollow. Now, they are releasing this on Steelbook, and I've been debating on if I want to get that. However, I do have a previous Blu-ray Steelbook, and the 4Ks are going to be the same. Love this movie. In general, I just love this movie. I've loved it ever since I first saw it on VHS. And I've had this movie on DVD, I've had it on Blu-ray, I have it on 4K. the 4K is the best the movie's ever looked. I say that a lot, but I'm recommending movies that are just, either 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 4K releases that you need to own in your collection if you're getting into this format. The previous Blu-ray looked fine. It was a good Blu-ray. The DVD looked okay for the time that it came out. But this is the best the movie's ever looked. And again, if you love that fall, crisp atmosphere, if that's what you want in a, movie, you're going to get it with this. And especially on 4K. You're going to want to, put on a hoodie or a jacket or a sweater and get, a favorite beverage of yours and a snack and just have a great time watching Sleepy Hollow this fall season. So I recommend this. I love it. And the last two I'm going to talk about are two movies from a franchise. And honestly, I could have recommended all 8 movies. I think they all look and sound amazing. And, as far as packaging goes and, transfers and bonus features, they're all, either 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. Sorry, releases. They're all, again, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 releases. These two really stick out the most for me because these movies have always had, I would call, troubled Blu-ray transfers. They've never had, outstanding Blu-ray transfers. Even the, Scream Factory box set that we got from 2011, 2010, or was it 2014? I think it was, no, not 2014, I think. 2014. That box set, overall, very pleased with it. But the Blu-ray releases for the movies were pretty good for these two movies. And they just knocked it out of the park with these. So I'm talking about Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, and Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. All 8 movies from Scream Factory, the Halloween movies, again, are all recommended releases. But say if you're diving in to the Halloween movies on 4K, and if you're a fan of these movies, even if you're just a fan of one of these movies, these are the ones I would recommend first. I mean, they are just awesome. And the packaging's awesome. I love these artworks, by the way, with all 8 of the releases. But where you're really getting the best thing from these purchases are the picture and sound quality. Like Halloween 4, I think of the 2 movies, probably had the most troubled Blu-ray releases because, you had those out-of-sync Blu-rays and they were pretty good. Even the previous Scream Factory release of this movie on Blu-ray was pretty good. This is fantastic. This is what I want when it comes to this movie. Halloween atmosphere, that opening. Again, like with Sleepy Hollow, you're just going to want to wear a hoodie and get your favorite fall drink and food and just watch it. And you're going to get that cool, crisp atmosphere with it, especially with the opening. So I love that. But Halloween 5, one of my personal favorites of the franchise. This looks and sounds amazing. You would think that because these movies are, well, this one's not as loved as Halloween 4, but these are pretty underrated movies in the franchise. You would think that these movies would not have the best releases of the Halloween 4Ks, but they do. These are the top 2 for me. Halloween 3, outstanding. Halloween 2, I love it. The original Halloween, the best of the movies ever looked. And 6 through 8, I love them. But I love these the most. And they're just stunning. So that is going to be horror movie 4Ks that I recommend you buy and watch this October. I, again, love the Blu-ray format. I have my top 10 video before this video, so you can go watch that. I want to do a part 2 to that because there's some other great Blu-rays out there. But I couldn't just pick 10 horror movie 4K releases. I wanted to recommend these. These are my go-to ones. These are the ones I watch the most. And I think they're all reference quality 4K releases. If you're going to watch them by yourself or watch them with friends, especially during the spooky season, definitely pick them up. So, as always, y'all are awesome. Y'all rock. I really appreciate your love and support. It's been fantastic this last month. I really feel like the channel has had kind of a refresh button, and I'm feeling refreshed, and your support means the world to me. So thank you for that. And so I will be back with some more videos for you all. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry it was a little longer than most of them, but I had a lot to talk about and a lot to recommend. So as always, y'all are awesome, y'all rock, and in with the positive, out with the negative. And I'll talk to you later.